In this video, we're going to be talking about how we can return JSX. I know it sounds like a simple task, but there are a few different ways to do it, so I just want you to be sure that you are aware of the different ways that you can return JSX. This is something that caught me off guard when I was first learning React, so it's a good thing to kind of just skim over. This will be a quick listen. Now, usually when we have a component like we do here, function app return, and this is going to be our template for this component. And notice we have hello here, we have hello down here. Now, this is something that you're going to see often. You're going to see return, and you're going to have the parentheses, and that indicates to React, hey, this entire thing is going to be what we return as our template. Now, what you could also do is do the div directly right there, so you don't actually need the parentheses, and this would work the exact same way. Now you can break this out into a couple different things and say paragraph, hello, and let's do a header in here, h2, yo, and then let's break this out into multiple lines, and this would be completely valid JSX. Notice down here we have our h2 and our p tag. So we are returning the element directly here. This would also be the exact same as saying, hey, let's open up our parentheses right here and right here. Let's tab this over. Let's back that out. And this would be completely valid JSX as well. And the one thing to note here is that when you're returning JSX, and this is one of the gotchas of JSX, this is one thing that you need to remember that you always do. See how here we have one parent element. So this div is the one element that wraps everything else. This would not work if we deleted the div. Right here and right here, we have an h2 sitting next to a p tag, but no single wrapping element. Therefore, React is going to throw an error and say, hey, JSX elements must be wrapped in an enclosing tag. So it just wants one single tag. Therefore, let's bring our divs back, one single tag, and now React is not complaining. Okay, so that's one thing that we're going to do. Another thing we can do is do conditional showing and hiding. So this is something we're going to talk about in the next lesson, but I'll do it a little bit here. We're going to have a const for is active, and let's say is equal to true. Down here inside of our JSX, we can actually create a brand new return and say right here is active. And if a person is active, then we're going to show div I am active. So I am active is going to show right here. This is a shorthand for saying, okay, if this condition is true, which right now it is, then go ahead and show everything on the right side of this and. And we'll talk about this in the next lesson. But right now, this is exactly what a return is. So this would actually break if we did something like this. P tag 1, P tag 2. These are two adjacent tags, not one single wrapping tag, so that will break as well. We need to wrap this in a div. And that will work. We can also break this out into multiple lines, just like we did earlier. So in this way, we can have a return inside of our actual return right here. So this is kind of returning a nested thing in JSX. You can also do this with the parentheses. So we're going to have parentheses here. We're going to close out with our parentheses right here, and that will be valid as well. Another cool thing we can do is use ternary statements. So we're going to say if is active, then we're going to return div I am active, div, and then if not, then we're going to say div not active. So just like you would use ternary statements here with the question mark to return anything, if is active, this is what's going to show. If not is active, this is what's going to show. And that's kind of a JavaScript ternary operator. So if we have I am active and we change this to false, this will return not active down here. So just be aware that this is another way to return JSX. You could even do this whole thing right here and remove our entire template and do that. So not active, if we turn this to true, that would be I am active. So there's a lot of different ways to return JSX. Let's undo a lot of this stuff. Let's do this. Let's say your is active is not false. And let's talk about the last way that I want to talk about returning JSX. Right now we're saying is active is false. And let's say here are your secrets. And this is kind of a secret part of our website. If not is active, we can do a whole ternary here, right? We can do is active. Then we'd show the secrets. If not is active, then we're going to say div, you are not active. Please log in. Okay, so that'll say you are not active. Please log in. If we change this to true, that should fix everything and show the secrets. Cool. But this can be a little hard to read if it's a giant ternary operator and you have a bunch of lines in between each one. So what we can do also is do an early return. So we're going to remove all that. We're going to say if not is active, then return div, you are not active. Please log in. So this is what's called an early return. We're returning first. It's kind of the JavaScript guard pattern. And then if you are active, then you finally get passed through and you get to this return. I think this is a little bit cleaner to read than the giant ternary operator. These are a lot of different methods to use in JSX. Just go ahead and pick whichever you feel comfortable with. I use a mixture of all the different ways in many different scenarios. Feel free to pick whichever one feels best for your specific scenario for that specific component. All right, I hope that was helpful. I hope that you can see all the different ways that JSX is returned and you won't be thrown off guard when you see all the different ways.